Hey everyone, Coach Scott Frost here. I'm here today to bring you a little bit of hamstring exercise that you can follow along with. Most people, if you're sitting all day, if you're driving a car, let's see, I don't know, maybe if you're anybody who exists in the modern world today, and you're going to constantly be in these shortened positions, and your quads, your hip flexors, a lot of them are going to become very tight and shortened. And what happens is, and what we used to only see in females was very quad dominance. So the quads are your thighs. Your thighs were overriding your hamstrings, which is the back of the leg, and was really causing a lot of problem, low back pain, rounded shoulders, what I call the Quasimodo syndrome, and just affecting the entire upstream and downstream of the hamstring. So we're getting a lot of damage in the low back and the knees. And this problem is now covering almost the entire population. So if you have low back pain, I guarantee you your hamstrings aren't turning on. If you have knee pain, I guarantee your hamstrings aren't turning on. So today we're going to turn your hamstrings on. And this will help you with your squatting if you're in the gym. It'll help you with all your everyday movements. And most importantly, when you go into to move anything in the gym, you want to put yourself in the right position, but even if you're in the position, you might not be still using the right muscles. So we need to make sure they're turned on before we even start moving. So what I'm going to have Lauren do here, Lauren is our resident average everyday athlete. So an everyday athlete, someone who is not really training for sports, but is training for their life, which should be all of you out there. Now, first, what I'm going to have her do is I'm going to make sure we establish a good posture, because the hamstrings are vital to maintaining an upright and very strong posture. So I don't want to see at any given point that her low back hollows or rounds. So I'm going to tell her to lift her abs off the floor. So pull your abs up, and the way you do is pull your belly button up. Now you're going to squeeze your butt, pushing your hips down into the floor. At the same time, you can kind of just relax the upper shoulders, put your head on your hands. I'm going to have her take one of her legs, and I'm going to bend it. She's going to flex her foot. Now, keep in mind that in ballet, this is a pointed foot. So here, point your foot. Former ballet dancers like me, no points in flex. This is flex. Now, from here, I'm going to have her drive her heel into the ceiling. See, as that happens, her leg starts to completely turn out. Well, we know that the hamstring is shutting off in this position. So what I'm going to do is just guide her leg in, facing this way. I'm going to tell her to press up to the ceiling as high as possible, and we're going to hold for time. So all of you out there, I want you to get in this position. I want you to start to hold. I'm going to show you some corrections. So now that you're in this position, your goal is to hold this position under good postural conditions. So it means everything stays organized. Now, for a lot of women especially, with their hip bones being pointed out wider, you tend to have your pelvis like pushing into the ground, and it can kind of get uncomfortable, which will also cause you to round and hollow. So what I like to do for my female athletes is just take a towel, and you may come down, and I would like you to lift your body up. Please position the towel under your abdominals, and then scoot back so that your hips are just off the towel. Even more, even more, even more, even more. There we go. So now your hip bones are supported, but also what I want the towel to do is to push the abdominals up. Now, she's still going to work with that, but it's going to help to keep this more of a neutral spine. It'll also give better cue to drive the hips down to the floor. So now let's bring your leg back up. You're going to raise it into the air. You're going to squeeze your butt down. Now see how her back is more maintained. That's excellent. Now where you're going to feel this is in this hamstring, this glute, and this low back. The body works in diagonal spirals. So really what we want to do is push this side of the low back down. See, your foot's already dropping out. Yeah, we got to get that flexed. Now as that happens, she might start to carry side. So what I want you to do for me out there is this. I want you to take this leg and I want you to carry it side. And I'm going to, do you feel that? Do you feel how that changes in your hamstring? Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to carry it back. Feel how when that's under your hip? Yes. Okay. So this is under your hip. You want to actually play with the positions. Too often we get set into thinking we're in the right position. Play with it. So we want this knee and this hip aligned. And the other big fault that tends to happen is I'm going to turn her knee out. Feel how everything disengages? Mm-hmm. You start to ride really tight into the outside of the hip, into the low back. That's why when you start to walk and you turn your foot out, you really are impacting your low back because you're just getting this entire spiral up into here. So from here, I'm going to turn her knee back in to face her other knee and tell her to push up into the air while pushing the hips down. Can you feel that?
Yes.
Where do you feel that? In the middle of the hamstring?
Yes.
Into the butt?
Right.
Do you feel this side?
I do.
A little bit? Mm-hmm. Okay, push it down a little more.
Okay.
Do you feel that more?
Yes.
Okay. So she's going to hold this for time. Your goal, the research has kind of shown for many years that you'll get complete activation of the muscle by peeling away an onion. So the longer you hold, you're sort of peeling away the fibers, engaging more and more under it till you get the whole thing. So at a maximal hold, it'll take you about 5 minutes. Now, you won't be able to do 5 minutes at one time, I guarantee you, not right off the bat. So what you're going to do is go for total time. So I want you to start at 1 minute of total time and break it up into as many sets as you need as long as you're feeling this hamstring. And then build it up to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5. Make sure you follow this video below, and then I want you to favorite it because you're going to come back, and I want you doing this every day, but I want you building up your total time. Our goal is to increase the total length, the longest length of your longest time. Let me see if I can phrase it again for you. The longest hold that you make, I want you to make that longer. And then the other holds, it doesn't matter how many more holds it takes you to get to that total time. So why don't you take this foot down? Let's kind of rest that leg a little. And now we're going to go to the other side, and I'm going to show you a technique I use that you can use to be able to turn the hamstring on a little more and to feel it, because really what we're looking for is feedback. We're looking for feedback from the hamstring to the brain so we can sync these two up so that the brain is firing the hamstring so that when you go and you squat or you stand up from your desk or you stand every day and all day at work, that you'll actually be able to feel yourself lifting in your posture, lifting out. So again, we're going to have Lauren bring her knee to 90 degrees approximately. We're going to flex that foot, so that's pulling the toe to the knee. And we're going to press up into the air. As she does that, her back is going to want to hollow. So I'm going to tell her to push her hips down to the ground, turn that knee in. And now you can just take any sort of bungee cord, very light band, any at the gym if you have any small bands that are around there. And you can either tie it off on your table if you're at home. You can tie it off on a machine. You just want a light little tension if you have a buddy, a workout buddy. And I'm just going to give her a little pull with this band. Now what this does is I'm going to tell Lauren, don't let me pull you back, but I want you to keep your leg in this place. So what I do not want to happen is do a leg curl for me, pull toward you. I do not want her flexing and pulling me in. I do not want that position. I want the heel to be slightly behind the knee. So as I'm pulling her out, she's resisting me. How's that? Is that worse? Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. It's much better, which means much worse in our language. So this is going to help turn her on. Now what I'm going to start to do is say, I'm going to release this band, but I want you to act as if it is there. Does that make sense? So I want you to press up into the air, act as if. Act as if. And now you can see this is still jumping in here. So we want to create a feedback loop that helps you understand that your hamstring has to act as if there is tension, something cueing it to turn on, but that your brain is doing the work. You can do this, as I said, I want you to really start working on it. You can do it once a day, total time, and work yourself up to 5 minutes of total holding, and I guarantee you, you'll see a dramatic difference in the way you stand, the way you feel, and the posture that you can hold on a daily basis. If you're an athlete, you'll see a huge difference in the way you squat, the way you run, the way you feel. You'll be able to protect not just the low back, but the knee, because the hamstrings are your shock absorbers. And if you take the shock absorbers off your car, you might be able to drive it to the local gas station, but you can't drive it cross country. It's going to take so many hits, so many potholes, you're going to crack that axle. And that's what happens when you hurt your low back and you hurt your knee, because your hamstrings are just not turning on.